Hi, everybody. Just take a few seconds to get everybody settled in here as we reach 1 o'clock, which I think we just have. I'll probably start. My name is Anna. Nice to see you all. Thanks so much for being here. Welcome in. I'm so glad that so many of you are joining us this afternoon, the first day of February, sunny outside to do some drawing. We're super happy to be collaborating with Scour to bring you this making session, draw, and I'm sure Aryan or Anna, somebody will pop in the chat the next session. We've already did one last week, which was collage, and there's a few more coming up in the coming weeks. So I'm sure you'll get a schedule of that in the chat if you're interested in coming back here in the coming weeks as well. So obviously, normally we'd be hosting you in the physical space of Fourth Space, which for those of you who don't know is located in the library building downtown at the downtown Concordia campus on the corner of Mackay and the Maisonneuve. And essentially we're a kind of public space where we host a variety of events and utilize various formats. You see the space there on the screen, such as video and podcasts, residencies and games. So we use all of these formats to engage with and activate the various initiatives happening at Concordia University and also the research that's going on and what's happening in classrooms. So we are running this event, as you've already noticed, in a meeting style rather than a webinar style, because the intent is really for you to be able to participate here and to connect with one another, to dialogue, to interact in all of the various ways that Zoom allows for. So keeping your video on if you're comfortable with that, using your audio when you want to speak. Of course, the popular chat is always activated for you to type anything out that you might want to type out, but it's really entirely up to you. You can keep all of your videos audio muted as you feel comfortable here today. And we're also live streaming this event at CU Fourth Space on Facebook, but don't worry, we won't show anybody's video. We have the camera set up only on the draw cam, so that's all that the live stream will show, would essentially be Chloe's hands. Chloe loaned is here today helping facilitate kind of this session, and so we'll just see her hands working for the duration. Of course, because you're here in the meeting, you have the choice to select gallery view or speaker view. I would suggest you stay in gallery view so you can feel like you're sitting around the table with everybody else who's here today who decided to turn the cameras on, and you can kind of feel like you're together in this space. So on that note, I think I'll pass it along to Aryan to tell you a little bit more about Scour. Over to you. All right, is somebody want to unmute themselves? There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi, my name is Aryan. I'm the coordinator here, one of the coordinators here at the Center for Creative Reuse. And our Concordia's campus is on unceded Indigenous land here in Montreal or Tiohtià:ke. Just a second. And the Ganegahaga Nation is recognized as the custodians of the lands and waters on which we gather here in Montreal, Tiohtià:ke today. It's historically known as a gathering place for many First Nations. Today it is home to a diverse population of Indigenous and other peoples. We respect the continued connections with the past, present, and future in our ongoing relationships with Indigenous and other peoples within the Montreal community. So I'd like to welcome you to Concordia University's Center for Creative Reuse, or Scour for short. We've been open for now, we're in our 4th year of being open. We opened originally in the Hall building at Concordia's downtown campus in a very small space. And over the last year and a half, we've moved over to the Grey Nuns building on the lower part of Guy, just below St. Catherine Street. And now we have about 4 times the space. And I can do a very brief sort of tour, walk around the space. If I take the draw cam. All right. So we have a very large space now. I'm sort of showing you We have a sewing station now, some fabric. We have a station where you can make notebooks, cut paper. Our paper corner here, which is probably pretty good for today's session. Drawings with all kinds of paper, old VHS drawers. And when we started in 2017, our space that aimed to be for everyone, not just people at Concordia University, but also for the outside community. So in normal times, you come here, become a member, membership is free, and you can take materials for free. All of our materials come from on campus. So there's a department of movement. Second, our draw can is a little tricky. All of our materials come from on campus, so it could be leftovers from students leaving their projects behind at the end of the year. It could be a professor retiring. It could be a department moving from one building to another. So we collect all those materials and we bring them here to the Great Nuns building, sort them out in our sorting center, and then put them on the shelves kind of in a sort of free store kind of style. And then you're welcome to come in normal times to come and get those materials. And so this year, because of everything that's going on, we decided to try to find a different way of reconnecting with the community that we really enjoy having in our space and getting materials out to you. And so for those of you who received a package, we're doing the draw package today. And so we sort of gathered all the materials within the space, came up with different categories of materials and put those in packages and sent them across Canada. And so today we're here to do the draw session. We've partnered up with Chloe Lalonde, who also works at the Force Space. You can see her waving in her own view, and you can see her hands in the draw cam. So welcome to the draw session, and Chloe, I'll let you take it away.
Hi, everybody. Ooh, there's a little bit of feedback. Arian and I are sitting right across the table from each other in Scour, so that's why there might be a little feedback or videos overlapping. So I work at Fourth Space. I'm really happy to be hosting this event and drawing with you guys. And I also used to work for Scour, so both of these places at Concordia are really close to me, and I'm so happy to be here in person today. I don't really know what to start drawing, to be honest. So we're just gonna start, and yeah. No, I'm not muted again. Yeah, so it's not necessarily a drawing tutorial per se, and Arian has this lovely setup for me where there's a bunch of paper over here that you can't see and this box of pastels, and I love pastels. So I'm just gonna play around with these first and see where that takes me. Excellent. I also brought my own assortment of pencil crayons, nothing fancy, pretty average stuff.
Wonderful. Do we want to do a little round of introductions, Chloe, like with the other people that are in the room? I put my camera down to face my hands if you want to do that too, or show your face. It just would be lovely to say hello. I guess I should introduce myself. I just like swooped in here on the other side. I'm also a co-founder of Scour with Arian there, and I work every day working on reuse, and this has been a big project for us this year. So I love working with these mystery materials, but I'd like to hear what people, like a little bit about yourself, what you've been making, and maybe what you found in the package that surprised you, or that you were attracted to, or that you started to play with. Does anyone want to go first or next? how do you feel if I called on some people?
Well, I can say something.
Great.
So unfortunately, I didn't get the package because I just found out about this the other day.
Yeah.
And I haven't really been making anything, but this is my way of starting. For 2021, I really want to do more creative projects and just follow my heart in that way.
Wonderful. What kind of materials do you like working with?
That's a good question. I don't make a lot of art, so
What do you
I'm
have?
still trying to figure that out. I guess you could say I like paper. I really like making greeting cards and journaling.
Wonderful. Totally aligned. That's great. Do you want to go?
If you want, Anna.
Yeah, please.
Hi, everyone. Ariana I'm a PhD candidate in sociology and anthropology. I was also at the collage making session, but I just decided to drop in here. And yeah, I've been just sort of doing these on my little moments off and doing some collages with some of the old maps. This one's a bit dark, so you may not be able to see it very well. Yeah, so I'm mostly just doing collage with a tiny bit of drawing mixed in. And I wanted to talk because at some point it would be really cool to think about documenting this and how people are kind of engaging with reuse in pandemic times, and just the importance of these kind of spaces. So I don't know if there's going to be maybe an exhibition or a space, but if someone wants to either consider publishing with me, I love kind of collaborating on that. So maybe something for public scholarship, maybe even an academic publication. I think it's just important to kind of, yeah, engage in that discussion. So I'll put my email in the chat if anyone wants to contact me.
Wonderful. Yeah, we would, I mean, that's kind of part of it where this is an experiment. We send out these materials into the world and we're seeing what comes back. We do have an online
Oh, poor Anna froze there. We lost you for a second, Anna.
Sorry about that.
You do have a
show planned.
There you go.
Yes, excellent. We're hoping to compile all the work that people submit. So please email us your photos and a little blurb about what you were doing while you were making or what your intention was. And then we're going to compile all of those into some kind of online art show for March, end of March 22nd. So we got lots of time to kind of continue these conversations and think about how we're documenting, but definitely there's a lot of intention about just connecting and being able to show what people are doing at Concordia, but all spread across all of Canada. So what we're doing together far apart. Great idea. Yeah, Lisa.
Hi, I'm Lisa. I'm a staff photographer at Concordia. And I know the email that you received for today's session included my information, but basically with the project, I'm hoping to take some remote portraits of some of you. So if you're interested in participating, just have a look at my contact and reach out to me. And so I've got 2 people now and I'm gonna follow up. I see that you're there, Ariana. So I'll follow up with you today. And basically what I'll do is, I'll follow up with each of you individually and it would probably take about half an hour, but it's kind of a collaborative effort. So yeah, so I hope some of you are interested in participating because it would be sort of nice to add to the documentation.
Yeah, it's really wonderful to see sort of the layering process, kind of like collage of what's, coming from just this kind of random but an intentional idea of sending out materials and gathering a kind of community together. And I think that people are connecting, and we have a Facebook group that's moderately being used that could become more of a sharing site to continue these kinds of ideas and share what people are doing. A lot of it right now is people sending back in their kind of first impressions of receiving the package. So we got a lot of great unboxing photos, which was really cool. And now some of the work that's coming in, which is such a pleasure to see. And really, I mean, we have several weeks to kind of be together and to continue talking about that. Is there anybody else that would like to say hello?
I can go next. So hi everyone, my name is Ezgi. I'm a PhD candidate in education. I'm happy that I also got the delivery, and it's really nice idea. I just want to thank you for those who came up with this idea. And today, because I was working and then I feel like this is a nice break, so I just like gather all the items, and it's a nice that we are doing a workshop. It's really make me to put in my agenda to really work on it. So hi to everyone. I hope we have a nice workshop together.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Do you want to unmute yourself, Grenier?
Okay. Hello.
Oh, there you are. Wonderful.
Hi, I'm Sylvie. Sorry I'm late.
No.
This is my first session. I have more questions. I received the care package for another workshop, and I haven't done anything with it yet. And I'm wondering, do I do it? Do we do it all together? Do I do it on my own and send in a photo? Like, how does that work?
However you'd like it to. Really, the materials got sent out with the intention that you open it and use as much or as little as you'd like. If it sparked your creativity right away and you wanted to get making, that's great. No problem that you haven't. We're carving out these sessions once a week for the rest of February to just say that there's 90 minutes of making time with a loose theme of the package type, but also just being here together and sharing ideas. This, like Chloe said, it's not going to be like a drawing tutorial. It's more just like let's share what we're doing and make time in our week to make something.
Okay, so I don't have to send it in. I can just
you don't
do
have
it
to. Yeah.
And take a photo. Do I share it or?
Please. It would be lovely to have photos of work come back. They can get sent to reuse at Concordia. We put the email in the chat. I think we did, or we will.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Yeah,
excellent. There. And we're going to compile for a kind of an online exhibition in March. But it's really up to you how you would like to, how much or how little you would like to share throughout your process. But yeah, what other kind of making do you do?
Well, I like paint. Mm-hmm. So I do stuff with paint. I don't know, paintings. And I've come to realize that I prefer paint to acrylic to the other stuff and the type of paper. So I'm exploring that. And I sew, and I have this needlepoint I received for Christmas. I thought I could do that, a little piece. I could do that during one of these sessions.
Absolutely.
And I guess I'm just tapping into my creativity, and I'm loving it. And I love, like you say, carving out time to do this. It's great because once I start, it's like a bug. It's like an addiction. You can't stop. You know, you just want to. You're in the zone, and you just want to stay there.
Yes.
So yeah,
sometimes it's hard to get started. So it's great that we're all in it together.
Yeah, I think this is great. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Sylvie.
Thank you.
Cool. That's neat, Arian. Oh, and we have Chloe's camera going too. Does anybody else want to share what they're working on?
I haven't started anything.
My name's Donna, and I'm just going to speak about what I'm doing. Am I clear enough for you to hear?
Yes, you're great.
Okay. I mainly have been doing collage in the last few years. I'm since sort of semi-retirement. Now that I'm completely retired, I'm returning a bit more to art. I've mainly produced a lot of cards using collage, semi-greeting cards, semi-art cards, but also collages which might be more described as editorial. So when I got my mystery package, I started on a series of about, there's now 4 collages using other material, as well as some of the colored paper and this fabulous map that were sent. And so I've got a little series started called Spring Comes to the Northern Hemisphere. I am drawing. I began doing some sort of casual drawing with someone who started offering doodling in the Alumni at Home series, and I'm still taking some classes with her. But I've also sort of begun to pursue journaling and to get much more into writing. And I think there's a lot of super writing going on right now. People are really writing up a storm intensely. So there's a lot of good stuff to read as examples. And I find I'm moving ahead with that, with poetry too. So I'm a real mixed bag. And that's a real mixed old bag.
That's so wonderful. No, it really is all connected. Like the layering and the card making. I feel like collage and drawing and mark making and painting, all of those things are about sharing your voice and finding the creativity in the everyday. And that's really, I'm really glad you're here. Wonderful. I like to do a combination of collage and drawing as well. I can never just do one thing from a blank page. So I don't know if other people have problems with that or if that's part of their process, but I like to work small in multiples with like lots of mixed things. I'll like Arian showing a piece of what I did for the collage session. And if I had those in front of me, I would be now drawing a layer on top of them, but I forgot them.
That's one thing. This is Sylvia again.
Yeah.
One thing I've noticed is that, yeah, I love the layering. I love the layering. And I've set up a little bookcase with all my creative stuff. And oh, it's like a little kid with a new toy. Like, I'm so excited. I got my little art corner. And, you know, all this time I've been thinking, you know, I had all these barriers, and I took this old bookcase I got off the street and put it in the corner and threw all kinds of stuff on it and realized that, you know, good God, like, you just do it. But I was, you know, I was in the procrastination stage. So now that I started, I just, I'm loving it.
It's nice that you created kind of like a container to hold your supplies that helps you get inspired and be creative. I wonder what other people's like workstations look like. Do you have a special place that you set out, or you adapt your living space? Like, this is my desk right now in the living room. It's not really an art studio, but some people do have like permanent space that they like to make in. I'm curious about Jean-Philippe. Do you want to share what you're working on, or a little bit about your space? I like seeing your hands moving.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I've got my studio at my apartment. I'm currently in art education as well, and I'm working. Yeah, like working with. I'm responding since I didn't ask for the drawing package. I received the package for the mixed one.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I just took a pad of newspaper. I put ink on the first page, and with the all the ink that had gone through the first page, I draw around and kind of responding to the marks of the inks.
So it's sort of what's left behind from the first page. It inspires the next page. I like it. Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome.
Anyone else like to share what they're working on, or say hello, or what inspired them in their package? Andrea?
Sure, I can go.
Wonderful, thanks. Hi.
Hi, how's it going?
Good.
Good. I hope everyone's doing well there. Yeah, so I got the collage package and I was really, really interested by this map that I got. I love old maps, so this was amazing for me. It was a treasure. And yeah, so I'm just doing some stuff based on the colors in the map, the oranges and greens, and they're sort of like an ochre, a little peach there. Yeah, I'm just doing some stuff with shapes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, those maps, a gem from a different time. That was geography department, and they were clearing out a huge cabinet of class sets. So it was a part of a lot of their curriculum where they would do learning around different kinds of maps. So we received probably, I don't know, 1,000 maps, most of them in sets of like 50 or 25. And so that made a really great material to cut up or to give a whole kind of chunk of the same one to a lot of you. So different, you sort of got some of the similar colors, which is really cool.
Yeah, this is an awesome one. This is it's a map of the Fredericton, New Brunswick area from the geographical branch of the Department of Mines and Technical Surveys. Just to share a little bit on that. And it's pretty awesome. It's really like showing in amazing detail some different mining areas, as well as I think basically just different types of industrial, commercial, residential zones, and then agricultural areas, and what is being grown. Yeah, I know, it's so yummy.
So great. And the colors of those maps. I'm just loving that. Great, thank you. Sorry, get excited about maps.
I've got a piece, not perhaps quite as detailed. I've got a piece of the same atlas. Mine is part of Nova Scotia. And I mean, I love the green and the blue with these pieces and bits all over this beautiful peach orange. It is very inspiring.
Love it. We were talking a little bit at the last session about, there was a question of like how the kits kind of came together and how the process kind of went. And we basically laid out, 60 envelopes and put a piece on each one as they built up and up and up and layered them to be packed. But what ended up happening, which was so interesting and strange, was that the colors just sort of like started to like magically work together. Like there's some paint chips in there and some other kind of pieces. And as we were like laying these things down, the colors just really kind of had like a beautiful either harmony or kind of the opposite, a real like clash. but in both ways, it was so interesting to see how they got stacked on each other. And then now you have just one of each, one little fragment of that, but the packing of them all was really interesting too.
You should have recorded it as like a collage event.
Yeah, we took a lot of pictures of us zooming around, packing all of them, and then the stacks kind of growing. But yeah, we have some pictures of that. I don't know where they would be interesting, but.
Yeah, I think it would be fun.
Great. Well,
We
maybe
might
we'll share some of them.
We might incorporate them into the future art show in March.
Right, like a nice little, like, this is how we got there, like you with the bin. I don't know if you saw our little like reel. It was Arian with the bin filled with all the packages heading to the mailroom through the campus. Yeah, there's some good information. We have a few new people. We're just I just wanted to say hello to the people that have joined us a little bit late. You're welcome to turn your cameras on and kind of join the conversation. You also can face your camera to your hands if you'd like to just show that. We're basically just talking about the work that we've been making or haven't yet started but would like to, and talking a little bit about some mark making and how they like to do that. Jean-Philippe shared about this ink layering process, where the kind of what seeps through inspires the next layer, which I think is a really interesting one. Does anybody like to share what they're working on?
I have a question. This is Sylvie. I can't find the camera thing where I can see everyone, but I don't seem to be listed up there on the row of participants.
Oh, maybe you're down in the corner, or maybe you've turned off your view, but we can see you.
Yeah, I did. Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, you can see me. Oh, okay. I wasn't sure because I had turned it. I saw a lot of people had turned theirs off, so I turned mine off.
Yeah.
But I guess I didn't because you still see me. I don't see me. Okay, that's okay.
Well, it's nice to see you. You look like you're in a sun ray, a beautiful sun.
Yeah, I am. I actually brought my sunglasses. I thought I love this space. Like, it's in my living room window, and the sun comes in, and it's like I'm not closing the curtains. I bring my sunglasses. So you maybe not see me, but it's like, oh my God, I feel like I'm on the beach.
Are you in Montreal?
Yes, I am. I'm in Rosemont.
Nice.
I don't know if you can see. I have this vase. I don't know if this answers your question. I just brought it in here. I have this vase of branches. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
And I thought I would try to draw that because I'm not much of a drawer.
Yeah.
And I just thought maybe I'll start from something I can see. Mm-hmm. So I'm in the process of doing that. But I must say it's not as much fun because I'm copying, it's not like It's not coming from my creative. There are no creative juices working here.
Well, maybe you have to pivot and add in what you don't see. A background, a foreground.
Yeah, that's an idea.
Add another layer.
Yeah, and maybe another medium. Yeah, that's an idea.
Can I call on someone else to say hello? What about Kay? Would you like to say hello? Hi.
Hi. Actually, I'm a language program student, and my teacher suggested me find some like activity under Student Success Center, and I saw your meeting name title about drawing, and I actually got a pre-acceptance letter of painting and drawing and studio art. So if there is no big change, I will be a Concordia student this year. Yeah, I'm so happy. So it's my first time to in this meeting, and I didn't prepare lots of things, so I just painting some my old artwork, like add some detail.
That's
yeah.
great. Wonderful. Well, welcome to Concordia.
Yeah, thank you.
It's really nice to have you. And yeah, absolutely. I didn't really prepare very much. I have my old sketchbook too.
Yeah.
A little bit. We're all right there with you. It's
Yeah,
all just about carving
yeah.
out time to make and be together. So
Yeah.
welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
My hands are getting tight from coloring. I'm just playing around. I like these colors that I did initially over here, and like this really cool green and this orange. It felt really like 70s, and I was like, oh, what if I just keep doing these like funky patterns? And then I made these little circles, and I was honestly trying to clean this white. And I kind of use that to my advantage, and I didn't like those circles. So I'm trying to change them into flowers. I don't know if that's working out, but I think it is. Like, it's fun looking at the camera and then being able to see it and referring to what it looks like, what other people will see and what I see is very different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
These shapes and the colors, as you like layer, it expands out.
Yeah, it's fun. I haven't been drawing as often either. I've been weaving a lot, but drawing not so much. My own making space in my apartment isn't so big. I have a desk that's like quite wobbly and works well for weaving, but anytime I'm drawing it, I have to like try to stable it. So I just haven't been drawing as much. So it is especially nice to carve it out. And I just love working with pastels, and even pastels that aren't mine. I get to be familiar with them, clean them up a bit, and like get it all over my hands.
I love that too, the get messy part. Yeah. We're talking a little bit about like what happens if we don't have a lot of drawing materials. Like we send everybody a package of just paper, but no actual like drawing tools. So I'm also curious if other people had any ideas for alternatives of things that maybe you have in your kitchen or your house that could be used as a drawing material that's not kind of traditional.
I'm using a cereal box.
Nice. Oh, that's a great surface. That's kind of like these folders that I have.
And then I'm making a card. I found some like tissue paper from Christmas.
Great reuse. Cool. Use what you have. I love it.
Yeah, I've been, well, like my son's only like a year and a half, but he's been starting to get about these like nice beeswax crayons. And so these are his first drawings. So I'm going to kind of collage with them, I think. And then with some old tea boxes, perhaps. We'll see.
Nice. That's great. I like, sometimes I've used instant coffee. That's kind of a cool kitchen item that with just like a little bit of water to reconstitute it, you can add, it's like kind of like a vintagey brown color. It makes a really good ink.
I've done a lot of that too with instant coffee. Hibiscus tea works like the colors that hibiscus tea produces is wild. Like just a bit of baking soda will change it into blue and it'll dry purple. It's really fun to play around with leftover tea and tea bags. This summer I was actually trying to make my own watercolors with like weeds in my backyard. So I just picked all the dandelions and boiled them and like mixed them with, I tried different versions of that alone or with the baking soda to change the acidity and the color, and like different little plants and petals that have different colors to see. It mostly all green, different shades of green for the most part. But,
and did it keep? Like as it dried, did it keep its color?
I used a wintergreen essential oil and I did not make much of it. And I really boiled it down so there was like no more than no more than this much.
Wow, okay.
So it was kind of condensed and it went quick, and they did get a little lumpy. If I'm being honest, they did get a little lumpy. towards the end, but it was fun to play around with. And now I'm trying to think about other pigments that we can make with food waste items. So like things that I would typically compost. And I saw this video on TikTok recently, and I don't know how much of this I'm inventing myself, or like it's way back in my memory of somebody drying orange peels and then grinding them up with like a coffee grinder or a blender, and then making a paint with the powder. So I'm currently working on consuming enough like oranges to do that.
That's a good winter project. 'Tis the season.
And I'm getting there. I'm hoping that I'll be able to try that out soon.
Yeah, Mark and I tried some. Sorry.
The thing too about commercial oranges is that there's probably already a lot of wax in the peel, so that that might be good in terms of paint or things you're applying. I've also I've seen things that people use smoke. You know, hold a paper close to something that's burning, but of course that takes a lot of care.
Yes.
I've never tried it, although I've seen interesting things from smoke. And of course, beet juice is a good one. So I mainly have used that, tried doing that once to dye Easter eggs.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say that Mark and I once dyed some curtains with turmeric, and that was a good thing. So a little bit of powdered turmeric would make a good ink, I think.
Anytime I stain anything that is white, or I use turmeric, but you know, I just end up having turmeric colored clothing, and I'm not mad at it. Another one that's really good is avocado pits. Like everybody should be saving their avocado pits all the time, because when you boil, the pits need to be dried and cleaned from all of the avocado flesh, and then they turn into pink. They boil pink.
Yeah, I did that recently. I used some avocado skins and pits. And I made the mistake of not cleaning them all properly. And so there was like a few small chunks of avocado that rested on a piece of fabric, and I didn't notice. And it created like just a splotch of brown. But the pink that I got was actually really cool. It's a nice like pastel muted pink. It's cute.
Yeah, it's really a millennial pink.
Yes, totally. That's it.
I was going to ask about that because I'm cooking something with avocados this afternoon, and I thought, so are you saying clean out the peel really well and then boil it?
take out all the pulp, I guess we'll call it, the meat, the flesh. There we go.
Yeah.
Just make sure it's cleaned really well, and then dry them out.
Oh, okay.
I actually put mine. Yeah, I actually had mine in the freezer for a really long time because I don't eat avocados fast enough, or I don't consume enough. So I was hoarding in the freezer, and it turned out fine.
The color of the avocado pigment, like the skin of it, like if it's a deeper color, like you'll see sometimes like purplish hues coming through the skin, and that's when you know that the pigment inside the pit. So the pigment's really in the pit, not in the skin. It'll like be a darker pink. And of course, the longer you boil it, the more rich the pink will be, and the more avocado pits you use, the pinker it'll be as well.
And do you add baking soda or?
You don't have to. I always add vinegar though. Vinegar is like a mordant to like seal the color.
Yeah.
And like you can definitely experiment with baking soda. It'll change the pH and the color might change a bit, but I don't think it changes too much with avocado.
Okay. And you just cover them? You don't put too much water?
Yeah. Oh, I guess so.
I'm just wondering how you say it's a watercolor, so it's not very thick.
It depends. Like the avocados, I guess if you're trying to make a paint, like or a watercolor, then you don't need to put very much water, and you could just use one pit and boil that in this shallow, like in a small pot. You can cover it and boil it for a while. I haven't used avocado to paint with yet, mostly to dye clothing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cottons, right?
Yeah, mostly cottons. It works
Natural fiber.
with I have dyed like white things that were not cotton. As well.
Oh yeah. And does it work?
It does work. If the fabric is too nylon-y, it probably will repel it, but you know, blends are fine. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Interesting.
I think Arian put down in the chat some a Vermont artist that is doing some other things. There's also bean paints, which is natural pigments, and also the art of soil. I've been following their Instagram, and it's like soil pigments that come from, or sorry, paint pigments that come directly from different soil sources. And that the colors that they're getting out of there are so beautiful. It's really interesting to think about alternative paints and drawing materials.
So I also think that original earth pigments are just about the many of them are just about the most stable natural pigment you can find. And a lot of them went into the cave and rock paintings.
Yeah. And then you also, I mean, you have to be cautious with powders, but it's a lot less kind of volatile and potentially unhealthy than some of the created pigments that we have today. I mean, you always got to be careful with the powder. That's like an inhalation risk with anything.
The too many of the pigments are based on heavy metals, and that's the dangerous stuff. Although we don't have to use white lead like artists in the past.
That's good. Yeah. It is really interesting to think about the materials we're using, especially now that we're working at home a lot more. So like things that maybe you were able to use like oil paints or in like well ventilated areas, they're not really safe to bring home into your small apartment or into your small studio. So we got to kind of try to figure out alternatives that aren't so toxic. Working with kids too, right? Also.
Especially. Yeah, I had a project going to do coat hooks with wood, and I was going to stain the wood and paint the hooks, but you have to use they're metal, so I have to use oil paint, so I have to wait till the spring so I can do it outside, because inside it'll kill me. Yeah. Breathing in those fumes.
Yeah, it's also funny how much of the work we do outside, like, and living in Montreal, I mean, the project that you might do on your balcony or out in the park is not something you want to undertake on a closed winter day.
No, not at all.
I want to share some, I was speaking with a painting professor here at Concordia recently, and they've changed their practice. They're a practicing artist. They've changed their practice to be more eco-friendly because they do work with oils. So I'm just sharing a link to a little Canadian company called Eco House. And they have things that are plant-based, sort of turpentine alternatives. If you are working in oil, you can check out some of the materials, the supplies that they have that can help you sort of make your practice better for your own health and better for the planet.
Cool.
Are we going to be able to access all this information after?
Yes. Anna will, or one of us will send an email to all of the participants with all of the links that were talked about in the chat.
Great.
And we can, make sure that that comes to you.
What about sumac or sumac, the red berry?
Yeah.
And wild grape, because there's so much of that that grows in some of the park areas or aqueduct areas in this area.
Yeah.
Like there's all this wild grape of various kinds. It drapes over the rails and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also, as I say, there's a lot of sumac. So I'm wondering if those, because you can make red spice from sumac.
Yeah.
So
I wonder about, I don't know about sumac. I know that like, I wonder if you left it for long enough or boiled it, if it would bring that color out. But the wild grapes for sure with the skins, that would create a really interesting and beautiful color.
Well, sumac can be powdered into a spice. So there must, like, maybe it's the pollen or something, or you just leave it until it dries and disintegrates.
Yeah.
Because it is actually, someone actually once gave me a pack of it that was an Acura spice, and it is the same thing, except I would never be able to use it again because I got the most terrible allergic reaction.
Oh no.
But I mean, I could still draw with it.
I would like to share something about the oil paints.
Sure.
Because this semester, last semester, I had a painting class, and we needed to change since it was inside our studios and everything. So the teacher told us to get those. Let's see. Yes. So there are water mixable oil.
And how do you find them?
They're available at this is the Winter Newton, but they're available through, I think, most art stores.
Do you like using them? No.
Nah, well, I more prefer acrylic and watercolor.
Right. Why go fake oil when you could just change your whole paint?
Yeah. But I decided to try them just to put them into my into my quiver. I don't remember the expression, but yeah.
Oh, it's too big. I'm finding I choose art on a basis of how messy it is. Certain messes I prefer. Like right now, I'm doing pastels and it's getting messy. And I hadn't planned on it, so I'm kind of, getting my head around a different kind of mess than paint,
Yes. Different level of preparedness too, and your space.
Yeah, because I kind of brought out everything that wasn't paint, and it's all on my little table here. But it's fun.
I think what I really like about pastels is like how rich the color is, and like even the mess and the amount of dish soap it's going to take for me to get this off my hands later. I had tendonitis when I was in high school, and it flares up when I draw or when I write a lot. But with pastel, I can get a richer color quicker and it hurts me less.
Yeah.
So that's the mess is my compromise, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, I like using my fingers. Like when I paint too, I like painting my fingers and my hands. So this here, the mess, I think that's when I get creative because I use my fingers and I smudge it in and I get into layering and it speaks to me more, you know. I don't know, it just feels yummy because it's not prescribed. It's not something, you know, it's a new creation each time.
Yeah, absolutely. I also like how painterly like oil pastels can be. I like to like when I do teach like art classes to and like painting and drawing to children, and I like to introduce them to painting with oil pastels and get them to kind of do it, like a bit more technical like renders of pre-existing paintings and kind of mimicking brush strokes by like copying little patterns, you know, like in impressionist paintings, like you would get like little mixes of lines, for example. They kind of like mimic brush strokes. And then sometimes what I do with like a little bit of olive oil on a Q-tip, you can activate the oil so that it becomes really like a paint.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's that's a fun little trick.
Sorry, can you say that again? What do you put on the Q-tip?
Olive oil or any oil. It will stain the paper. It will like make it a bit more yellow, and I don't think it's necessarily archival or anything, but it will like activate the pigment in the oil.
I mean, I'm gonna need to be able to archive all of my work, Chloe.
And so do you use just ordinary paper or do you use a little bit thicker paper?
I think thicker paper would be better ideally, but
yeah.
Anything.
I don't know if you can see this, what I was inspired by your flowers. So I started doing flowers with pastels. I prefer, than the color pencil is kind of boring. And then I just added, I started with dark and then I added light on top, all the pastels, and just smudged them in. So
yeah, very lovely. Just the color that we need in this cold winter.
yeah, no kidding.
A little warmth.
I really like pastels on these file folders. That's kind of good, thick kind of paper, like a file folder like this, or some of the like harder ones that are kind of like, that have, I don't know, they're just like firm, good surface to work on without a lot of water. I mean.
Oh, interesting. God, I threw so many of those out.
Change my surface. I don't want to draw on it.
Do the maps feel too precious? Is that what you're saying, Chloe?
Unless you have something really special you want to do, you want to know it, you want it to be planned, you don't want to waste it.
I think what I do kind of want to do is redo these shapes, but in pastel. Okay. I think I kind of have the colors for it too. Let's see. Just gonna get more structured. I'm gonna use this to test the pastels in front of me. Try to like
Did you make that pretty picture? The pink? Sorry. Did you draw that pink thing?
This picture? No, this is a map.
Oh, isn't that pretty?
Yeah, it is. This is what I don't want to draw on.
yeah.
So I got this green. That can be this.
Can I make I would wonder if you're confronted with not being sure about whether to draw on your map, maybe do a series of small colored drawings and collage them on. Or you can move them around and choose where you want the colored area to go, or frame it in some way in the midst of the map. I mean, that's just an idea. That's my perception all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah. I can't tell if this pastel is white or if it is like transparent kind of blender. I can't tell.
Because you're also on a white page.
You know what? That's good. That's a good observation. I'm gonna put it on green. Okay, so verdict's in. It's transparent. Right. Like just the residue, and then now I'm blending it with my dirty finger. So now, of course, it's cool. That's equally as useful. Okay, I'm gonna start. I'm gonna color these in. Like a color by number. Don't like that. Oh no.
Hello, my name is Willem.
There? How are you? Have you been making some things?
Yeah.
Do you want to show us what you've made?
Okay.
Oh, great drawings. Oh, wow. It's a whole world.
What are they doing?
It's demons that are playing a band.
Wow. They're playing in a band?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Do they have different instruments?
Yep.
Can you tell us what these instruments are?
Well, this one is the piano. This one is just microphone. This one is the guitar. This one is like jazz, and this is drummer.
And what's the band called?
The Jumbies.
The Jumbies.
Great.
Very cool. Where did you get this idea from?
I just made a couple drawings of demons.
Nice.
He's into monsters right now and like stories. So he's seeing the whole world through ghosts and demons and monsters.
But they're very talented. They formed a whole band. And they have a great name. It's called the Jumbies.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's wonderful.
Anything else you want to say, or are you good? Thank you.
Thank you. That was wonderful. That also brings up kind of like comic book and styles like that that really use pen and ink as a way to tell a story. Great. How's it going, Chloe? What is it? Is it working like you were thinking?
Yeah. I'm getting lucky with these pastels. They match pretty well.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's changed at all from over here. But you're adding another layer. You're color matching.
I am redoing the map. I like the shapes that are on it. So I'm solidifying it. I'm making the art piece the map by coloring it in.
Excellent.
Like a paint by number. There's a hill on this map called Breakneck Hill right there.
I wouldn't want to go sledding there.
No, it's in Hampstead, New Brunswick, so don't go there.
Okay. I think it was last year we did the Don't Buy That. We did a making event in person for Valentine's Day, or for kind of around that holiday time, and we made cards.
Yes.
For our friends, Valentine's Day. We had some of those maps, and I happened to find like the most perfect, I don't even know what they were, like what the towns names were, but it was like Hartville, and like, I don't know, it was just like so serendipitous to pick up these things and find like the names of these tiny towns in a place that I never would know, and it just like aligned perfectly for cutting out these Valentine's Day cards. It was cute. I love making cards. I feel like especially right now, getting cards and making cards for others is just like such a like wonderful thing to do. And sending mail.
It's so fun to get mail.
So
nice. Christmas, I sent Christmas cards to my whole family, which was really nice. And I like made the cards individually for them, and I had this gross piece of linoleum, and I carved into it with not the right materials to carve into it, and made some like tree stamps, and that I just kind of reused in different purposes. It was fun.
So nice.
On a related note, at the Ethnography Lab, we started a mini project with postcards. And so once a month, we're sending each other postcards. There's 8 of us, and each month they have to connect to the one before it. And so we're going to do it until it goes all the way through the loop. And it's been really nice to engage in communication that's not just digital in this time. So if anyone, I really recommend sending postcards, even if it's not a part of a project.
Yeah, that's such a great idea, because then you could do like a small, that's the small way that I like to work, and then mail it off and then see what else comes from it.
Yeah, and if we do it again, everyone would be welcome to be involved, or if maybe as a part of an exhibition, although I don't think this project's not going to end by March, because there's 8 of us. So we're like, well, it's going to be a long pandemic, so.
Well, how do you make a postcard?
So basically the first postcard, we tried to not have it be too ruly, but the idea is that you either buy a postcard, or if you hand make it, you're still engaging in some kind of a remixing kind of a process, right? So if you would bought a postcard, you would visually interact with it in some way, whether it's drawing something quickly over it or collaging or what have you. And then on the other side, you have any kind of a text. It could be like a word, a sentence, it could be a whole kind of
sounds like fun.
Traditional postcard. And so there's some cool ones, like one that I got that's just is like Bernie Sanders' head. So I got to add the neck, and so it's probably gonna be like a whole body kind of a thing. So yeah, it's gonna be fun.
And then when you mail it, do you put it in an envelope, or you just mail it like that?
Yeah, the first one was just open, but then obviously because they're becoming like an accordion, I had to go in envelopes.
Yeah. Oh, fun.
But the postage is the same, an envelope or a postcard,
exactly.
As long as it doesn't get too thick. That's what we learned.
Yeah, it's fun though, because we were even thinking back in the day when everyone used to send postcards to each other, it was like the post person could read or even just have a quick look at your handwriting. It was more of it was more interaction along the mailing chain, whereas now emails are supposedly private.
Right.
No, it's really So yeah, it's a whole way of different way of interacting with the community.
Nice. Well, we had a little brief thought of kind of including some piece of that into this this project, as we mailed things out, the idea of like, would you refill your envelope and mail it on again, and like, you know, send that art to somebody else, or
super cool.
Yeah, fill it with materials. But I mean, it's a little bit tricky to coordinate with like a lot of people. With 8, that's so great.
People, right?
Yeah, I mean, anyone's still welcome to refill their package and send it on, or send some of your artwork to somebody else. That would bring joy. We also thought maybe encouraging people to put their art in what they made with their kits out into public places to see like how people would engage with them. And like photographing it in the wild would be a cool kind of like prompt. But we decided not to make it too, you know, rigid. You do what you want.
I've been really into the idea of like art walks and public art recently. And when it snowed the other day, there are so many people that built not just snowmen, but full-on sculptures, and walking around the park after was like visiting a museum. And like this idea of like art walks and how we can make actual, you know, public art is, you know, typically funded by the city and is like big and fancy, but how we can make like these little small kind of community-based art walks and make sure that the art that you leave there doesn't stay behind.
Yeah.
Like
well, I noticed, a couple things for people who got very creative with their gardens, and I saw an amazing number of bizarre lawn ornaments that they must have pulled out of their basement, and some very eclectic mixes of different lawn ornaments and decorations in people's yards in the summer. And a little bit off, and also, of course, people are always making sculpture gardens. And I mean, there's no reason you can't make sculpture gardens that aren't bona fide sculptures. You know, of every odds and ends of things you can put together. But and that's just an idea. The other thing are some things I've actually practiced, because I was very fortunate that I got a few years ago a huge pack of different kinds of wedding and birth announcement invitations, including some that had like the photo oval in front. And because there was a lot of different kinds of text and decoration, I found myself like covering up some of the text and turning these almost into like little, well, they become almost like little 3-page booklets. There'd be art in the front, some kind of art inside, and then art on the back. And I've sometimes found some very interesting found Christmas cards. Were just, they were almost entirely geometric and abstract. And they had some interesting cuts, like a diagonal cut. You saw something on the next side. So those became really interesting to play with as being multiple, not accordions, but still multiple and overlapping images. And following up on something you've said about postcards is that I realize sometimes you may get a Christmas card, and you know, why not use the image if it's simple enough? Use it as a basis for the collage that's going on top. Why figure that you have to just use it as a base you can cover up so you can use the card? And even stuff with text that way. So anyway, this is all just some things that I've uncovered over time.
I love that. I love the idea that you're taking something that was intended for one purpose and kind of transforming it and making it your own, but still, you know, being able to use that as the jumping off point. It's really wonderful. I can totally picture that like bridal announcement or the baby shower card that has the cutout and like kind of like that puffy embossed something around it, and that would make a really good surface to continue on to.
So I'm going to piggyback off of the postcard. I actually, earlier this year, I have a friend who's going through a bit of a difficult time, and he's an artist himself. And I thought, well, I'm not much of an artist, but I can try my hand at it. And the first thing I had to figure out was how to draw. And what I did was I said, okay, what's the most basic thing that I can do? So I started a little activity with felt. And I figured with felt, you can take several different colors and make a landscape out of them. And I was realizing that I was so obsessed with hyperrealism in drawing that I was missing out that if you really zoom out, sometimes things are just a blend of colors. So then I thought, okay, well then how can I put colors together that don't look like a messy pastiche, because that's not my aesthetic. So I started thinking, I was actually looking in my kitchen, I have a stained glass window. So I can do something like that. So I asked him for his favorite landscape, and he said, I like sunsets and I like thunderstorms. So I'm like, well, what if I do both? So the first part here is the inspiration from the stained glass. So the whole area there is done by division. And then the next part is sort of like a blend, and that's the lightning coming out. And what's really cool is when you really study landscapes, they're actually very, very simple colors layered upon one another. And the difficult part, so everything that I'm using is recycled material, and this paper doesn't really hold color well. So I had to ask myself if I was going to fight with the paper, if I was going to work with the paper. So the lightning is where I fought with the paper. So the paper is, this lightning is acrylic, so it really shows up really well. And this part here, I went with the paper. So it's a type of, not quite sure what this material is, but it leaves, it's almost wax-like, and it's almost at the same time like a pencil crayon. And it's a lot of like grinding it in, and then I had to like sort of almost scrape out the lines again and put them in a marker. And then what I'm going to do here, you can almost see those power lines are sort of like going off. I had to scratch them in. So it's like a labor of love, and it was supposed to be a postcard, but at this point I'm like so attached to the labor. I'm like, I cannot send it through the post this way. So I'm going to wrap it in some kind of parchment and then mail it off to him. Yeah, so for him, I'm doing a different series. I think the next one I'm going to have the barn like really close up, and then in the back is going to be the crop. So yeah, so it's really like, it's come a long way. Like I really, when I say I don't know how to draw, like nada. So it was good because it taught me a lot about different papers, different materials, and to be patient with myself. This is, when I do art, I usually write because it's so immediate and it's great. And this has been a completely different exercise in how I do things and sort of like expunge a feeling. So yeah, so it was like the biggest learning point was really the landscape. So I'm like, you have to go online, you can type them in and you can look at them, and they're much more simplistic than you realize. And at least for me, maybe other people already know that, but for me, I was like, wow, you just have to get the colors right. Just follow the colors, and they kind of lead you to the drawing.
So beautiful.
Can I ask a question? It's beautiful. So you start with paper and then you glue the felt on the paper?
That's what I did. So that's another project. This is a version him and I are doing. So we have one now, we're doing parts of a plant. So we've done one where you just sort of glue it on. We have another one here. That was a lot of fun. I have a lot of different projects that I'm doing with him. And it's hard homeschooling someone. I'm not in early childhood education. I'm in adult education. Really boring. Like, I didn't want to make him feel like he was at school. So I'm like, what do I want to do? And like, what's he want to do? I'm like, we want to do art. So let's learn through art. So we did like, we took some twine and we did a root system. Oh, wow. We just put on the paper. And then this one was a lot of fun. We did it in stages. This was like another one we did with felt and paint. And then the roots come down there and sort of like a 3D version.
Wow.
Yeah, so this sort of gave me, they were all different steps of a process. So even here you can kind of see how you've got like a little bit of like this, well, not a little bit, quite a bit of sky, then a really tiny space of green. And that was really the inspiration for this, because it's blocks of colors being put together, but just not knowing how to put them together. And so I got a little like, you know, tried to be a little fancy with my pinks, my purples. And so yeah, there's another project that I did that was not very successful, but it taught me that you cannot mess with the colors. I the red sort of over here, and it didn't work. And I was like, you have to obey the color scheme like that. It's like you can almost do anything. I'm sure I'll get to a point where I can disobey the color scheme, and that's its own thing, you know, like. But right now, I'm like, I just want to honor what nature is doing, and then from there, I can try something else after. So yeah, so that's where we're at.
Beautiful. That's a lot of art. That's amazing. Yeah. Great work.
Rhonda, you're an artist. You're an artist, Rhonda.
What?
You're an artist for sure.
Yeah. You're an artist.
I think
that's true. It's beautiful.
What we really wanted to do with the packages was, no matter who you were, whether you were at Concordia or you're outside in the community across the country, that you could participate in some way, and through making become more artistic or find that artist within you. And I think part of our intention was to sort of break the norms of what an artist is, right? And just work on creativity together and connecting in this strange time. And so thank you so much to all of you for sharing today and all of the different ways that you're being creative, whether it's drawing like we've been doing today or collaging like a lot of you. So thank you for sharing all the different ways that you're approaching art and making.
It's weird. I'm at this point in my degree where I'm kind of half fed up, but half like excited to get it over with. But my degree is all purely about language. And I'm at this point where I want to give up on words. I want to give up on speech. I want to give up on talking. So, but I don't want to give up on communication. So I thought, well, what can I do with my hands? So I thought my hands are immediate. They come from me. There's no filter that I have to think about. So it's immediate. And so that was really exciting that I could do something like that and sort of translate a feeling onto a paper. There's a lot of reasons why I had a terrible experience in elementary school with a teacher who was not very nice to me, and I kind of just didn't want to do art again. She was really, really mean and would really enjoy making fun of me. And so it's in the back of my head, I always remember sort of the things that she used to say to me. And so when you draw something well, you're like, well, I guess she was right, you know, and it's not that, you know, I care so much about what she says, but the fact that she took the time to make fun of me always sort of stuck out. Like, I guess it was really so bad that it warranted that negative comment. That must have been what it was. And so, you know, as I grow older and I'm now, the mother to a child, you realize like that's someone's own problem. That's their own issue. It has really nothing to do with me. Like I'm like the punching bag for whatever was going on in their mind. But what's really sad is that for almost 40 years, like I really just didn't want to touch art. I was just, every time something wouldn't go right, I was like, she's right. I'm terrible at this. Why am I trying, And now it's different. Now I'm like, I don't care, So it's a completely different feeling now. Now it's like, oh, look what I can do with my limited skills, lady, So yeah, so it's a lot of fun.
Love that. And the stuff that we already have around, it's perfect. I mean, we don't need fancy materials to have all of the best. I mean, if you want to extend what you're working with, great, but just, find joy in the making of it. And I think that's also really what Scour is all about. This, in normal times, we have a big depot like Arian showed where people come around the table and pull out materials and take things away that for free that they might use in other ways. And this kind of like normalizing and make it accessible, and it doesn't have to be anything specific. Like it doesn't have to be anything. It's just the act of doing, and doing it together really changes how, perspective. And that's really like an important journey that we're all sort of on, I think. his rebuilding and finding the joy in creativity and making.
What I love is that there's no rules.
Mm-hmm.
There are no rules, and there's no right way and wrong way. I'm a substitute teacher, so I go into a lot of classrooms, and sometimes I'm asked to teach art, and in a very rigid way, all my hair goes up. So I just, I figure I'm a substitute. I can do, I can take the liberty.
Yeah.
So I tell the kids, no, you do it the way you see it, like as crazy as you want, you just do it. Whatever your heart tells you to do, you do.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never had a teacher complain, but the kids, I mean, they just love it. You know, they can just be who they are. There's no right and wrong, and they can just, explore. And it's just fun to see them. And it allows me to be a kid again, which is great.
Wonderful.
Well, oh dear. Well, I went through, I have a BFA. I went through Concordia, and I've done some other courses as well. But you'd turn up, there'd be certain classes where the very worst thing anyone could say was, well, that's fun. It was like, basically it was worse than saying that what you did was shit. Wow. Honestly, fun made it worse than shit.
Oh. Oh.
That's so wrong.
That's upsetting. I'd be like, oh my God, thank you. It was fun. I had so much fun.
God.
Yeah, fun.
But there was a time that art was like, it was rigid. There was a certain way, like you were only an artist when someone said you were an artist. Well, I'll have you know, whatever I'm painting, I name it and I sign it and I date it. And you know what? It's my piece. It's my art. I don't care what anyone else said. It's my art.
That's great.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm so excited to see what everybody creates. We'll be having another session. Next week is So we'll be doing some textile stuff and working with fabrics. But same, I mean, if you want to come back and draw or collage, you're welcome to do that as well. We're just, like I said, carving out time. It's the same time on Monday, the 8th from 1 to 2:30. And then the following one is a build and tinker one. So it'll be much more kind of 3D with some of the things that we sent in the package. And then the final one is Monday, the 22nd of February from 2 to 3:30. And that one's the mystery packages. And really, so the mystery packages were just a combination of all of the other packages. So join us there as well. And please share what you're making. You can email me at reuse@concordia.ca or post in the Facebook group or on Instagram at CUCCR. That's a good way to kind of stay in touch. I've been resharing some of the things that people have been making, and we'll work to compile a final show. We were talking last week about the idea of including some written text with some of the work, if you're interested in doing that, adding a little bit of your artist statement or your intention or kind of what sparked something, just giving a little more insight since we can't be in person together. So we'll keep you all posted for that. You'll receive an email following this session with all this information in it as well, all the links that Arian shared and some of the other upcoming events. But I really appreciate you all being here with me and with us and making together. It's really great just to kind of hang out and see what people are doing. And I hope to see you next week or in the future.
Thank you.
Well, thanks. Thank you so much. And it was fabulous fun. And I don't mean that in quotes.
It was actually fun, not just like,
it was
so fun. Thank you. Wonderful. And Anna, you want to say a few closing words as well?
Oh, sure. I just I'm popping in to bid you farewell, I guess, and wish you a really nice sunny rest of your day, everybody. It's been really great that you took the time to come together, meet some new people in this manner, introduce yourselves, and just really take the time for yourself to be here and be in community, even if you didn't feel like speaking, etc. So we really appreciate you being here. It's really great that you did that. So thank you once again to Anna and Aryan and Chloe as well from Sucker and For Space for leading us through today, and for all of you who took the time and who participated. We really love seeing you here and hope to see you for the further sessions, even if you just want to poke in and see what people are working on and take the time to just make something. Do something with your hands. Chloe, we enjoyed watching your hands on Facebook. Great work. So on that note, everybody, we're going to be closing this meeting. Please do get in touch if you have any questions. Check us out at concordia.ca/4 for the fourth space. You can get in touch and we can put you in touch with Sucker and anybody across the university that you might have come across today in the chat, etc. So we're looking forward to the next time. On that note, I'm going to say bye. I'm seeing all these thank yous and byes in the chat. So thank yous and byes from us as well. Take good care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.